Brad, there we are with that gap on the inside. Wasn't Damon generous this morning at Riders Briefing? He offered to be the Riders rep, and he said he was just going to take his place on the grid. I'm sure he would much sooner be there than where he is, almost at the back row of 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it was nice of Damo. He's volunteered to be the riding riders rep, and said, yeah, with that comes pole position, I've been told. So
yeah, great to see. Oh, look at this. Unusual to see a gap there, but indeed, in fact, we wish him all the best. He's been under the knife, as we politely call the lingo of having an operation today. All the best. Speaking of recovery to Mr. Rees, getting away through the sand off that row further back in there. Wow, that was Jake Lewis, an outstanding run there for Jake, so well done. So you've got Scott, Sloan, Alistair, Daniel, and Chris up there, of course, but Jake Lewis, the one getting that good start. Hopefully the field to get through. So much anxiety on that first corner with Supers, and they get around it nicely, get the power of the ground, and we're away once again. Look at that from Scott, the number 5, setting the pace out there. He had 8 on his bike when it came to the Suzuki Series. That's his old race number, but he's put 5 on the placing. He got in the championship last year, so very similar digitally mastered number on the front of that beautiful Suzuki, but the Promoto supported rider and a motorcycle mechanic by trade, so lives and loves motorcycling many days of the week, and back on the racetracks and doing oh so well.
Yeah, so our front 3 got away to a great start with Scotty Moyer, Sloan Frost and Alistair Hugenbosom, but Daniel Medham a much better start this time, so he's running in 4th place already there, and Damon Rees as well with a better start as well. So Jake Lewis, he got off the line good, but already has lost a few positions to Daniel and Damon, but Damon Rees definitely a better start this time, so this is going to be a magical 20 lapper to keep our eyes on.
All right, 20 laps it is indeed. You got the key point there, Brad. Look at those 2 Suzukis here.
Yeah, absolutely. Scotty Moyer and Sloan Frost pulling a wee gap on the rest of the field on lap 1. They're obviously trying to break the field right from the very start and get a clean getaway so that they're only scrapping between themselves.
All right, 20 laps. We're going to see tyres coming into effect for the first time in this series, because unfortunately we didn't get the big long race at Ruapuna last week.
To be fair, Levels Raceway is actually quite generous in its tyres. The guys don't generally tend to suffer a lot of wear, particularly when the track conditions are like they are today, so I don't really think we're going to see much of a tyre game today.
Nice indeed. We hear it from the expert. After all, he sells the tyres 6 days a week and goes and changes them on the other 2. So this is a guy that knows more about motorcycles than mowing lawns, that's for sure. So nice to have Ian on board with us, and Brad's keeping an eye on the run at the front as they come back through that awesome hairpin. And Sloan, as it is, should say Scott Moyer, looking the man to hold out Sloan Frost.
Yeah. So these 2 definitely have broken away already. So Scotty Moyer ahead of Sloan Frost at the moment, ahead of the bus stop and out onto the front straight. So Sloan Frost, he's got his head down, he looks very determined as well, so I think he'll be getting sick and tired of these second places. He'll want to win this one, so this is going to be an awesome race to keep our eyes on.
Right, it is indeed, as we open it up, courtesy of Timaru Yamaha. Still to come, of course, our Timaru Metal Recyclers super stock class as well, which is 600, and it's as good a racing as you're watching here. In fact, their times are very little difference between them here at Levels, more of a levelling track, as a bit of a pun there, but it gives you the idea that as a tighter circuit, those smaller bikes can still perform so well. But everybody loves the super bikes that come to play. This is their last race of the day as well, so they had one yesterday, already one this morning, and now this one. So after this, many of them will be packing up. In fact, I know a number of them already heading for the ferry to get a trip back to the North Island within the next 12 or 18 hours. So tough work to go for these guys as they get on the road, and more importantly get back to their other jobs, as they've enjoyed a fantastic 10-day break here in the beautiful mainland, as we call it in New Zealand, the South Island, as we're watching it there. And Demon Domo, man, he spread wide on the hairpin that time. Do you think everything looking all right for him there, Brad?
Yeah, no, he's under control. Looking for a couple of different lines, looking for some way around Daniel Medham, so these 2 are definitely going to have to get after Al Hoogie, who's already got a little comfortable buffer in 3rd place, so we'll keep an eye on that one. But Damon Rees definitely want to get ahead of Daniel Medham as quick as he can and get after those guys in the front.
Right, well, exactly as it is at the moment. The 1, 2, 3 are the same 3 guys that got on the podium in the same order for the last race, but we've not seen any races repeat themselves throughout this championship in our major classes, Ian, so I don't expect it to stay that way for that reason, because others are consistent. But hey, on the other hand, they are the same 3 guys that have stamped it again. Early part, I know, of a 20 lapper, but all 3 of them are looking good.
Yeah, they are looking very good, the front 3 runners. In fact, they're about 0.7 of a second ahead of Daniel Medham's pace. So they're running in the high 3s, Dan in the mid 4s. So I think they're going to pull away, but just watching Jake Lewis and James Hugenbosom having a really good battle for 6th and 7th place at the moment.
All right, good to watch this kind of racing, and here we are, the battle of Suzuki's again. Taupo Scott Moyer up against Wellington's Sloan Frost. Then we go back to Christchurch's Alistair Hugenboosum, ahead of Auckland's Dan Medham, ahead of Whakatani's Damon Rees, from Christchurch's Jake Lewis and fellow Cantab and brother of ours, James Hugenboosum in there. Auckland's Livio Zamperi, and go back to Taupo's Connor London and Auckland's Chris Haldane. So domination by the North Islanders in our Superbike racing, and Alfield right at home with the 3 remaining legs in the north, but in fact to come here to the south at the moment and be on visiting turf. The 2 North Islanders out in front are looking good for the classes. Brad keeps an eye on Ctas Live.
Yeah, we're having a look at them into the John Jones Steel. Left hand of the race leaders, Scott Moyer, definitely looks so under control as we see Sloan Frost having a bit of a dive into the McKissick curve. There it is, so we've got the update now. So Sloan Frost dives up the inside, and what a move he's put on. So Sloan Frost out in front now and into the hairpin. So look for Sloan Frost to head off into the distance if he can.
Oh, that's a crucial move to make it end about the right time. I think he couldn't just sit into it at the moment. And Ian, what did you think of the move?
Yeah, it was a very good move from Sloan, but it looks almost like Scotty's having a wee problem in the front end there, because is that Al Hugenboosum closing up quite rapidly on him?
Yeah, it is indeed. So a good point, in fact, as he's picked up, made not necessarily just be alone, the excellent racing by Sloan, but it could actually be a little bit of a hiccup for Scott going on there as we watch out for it. And Al Hoogie in there, so far too early for a tyre. In fact, to be coming to it, there we are, 5 down, 15 to go. It's the massive 20 lap of the biggest race these guys have struck in the entire summer of racing now, as we learn to settle it down. In fact, that's one of the great features of racing we have in New Zealand, that we have some as short as 8 laps for these guys, but others like this one at 20. This one is not over yet.
No, absolutely it's not. And I think it might have actually just been a slight mistake from Scott into the tightening radius that allowed Sloan to come underneath him, because he looks like he's picked his pace up quite nicely again now. All
right, Brad, up to you as we follow it with Ctas Live.
Yeah, into the hairpin they go, and Sloan Frost, good move, little moment there from Scotty Moyer as they head out of the hairpin, but nothing too drastic. He's back on second place, and after Sloan Frost and Al Hoogie would have got a little bit of a rejuvenation when he saw the move from Sloan. So definitely right up there with a 3-way fight, 1, 2, 3 as they go across the line, and then a decent enough gap back to Daniel Medham, who's still holding off Damo Rees at the moment.
There we go, and let's keep an eye on the others as well, with James Hugenboosum up there, Livio Zamperi going to Jake Lewis and Connor London. Look out for Chris Haldane to be back in New Zealand racing. He's a top 10. Welcome to Dan Ormsby on the Ormsby training, www.motorcycletraining.co.nz, supported Yamaha with Ryan Yanko, Brad Groomridge in there. Don't forget Brad, of course. What a hero he's become, and bit of a cult figure to follow. Crashed here on all 3 days, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday. Touch wood, he's been all right so far today. He's there in 13th place debut year. In fact, he only started racing in December, his first ever road race, and started on a superbike. Is that a baptism of fire or what? Ray Clee, Dave Sharp, no start from Mitch Rees or Ryan O'Neill in this one. So that just takes us with 15 starters. Better than we've seen some of the other championships start with over the years, so good depth in our numbers.
We've got a change for 4th. We've got Damon Rees up into 4th place, so he's made the move in the hairpin on Daniel Medham. So Damon Rees, he's got a big gap to try and peel in, but Damon Rees, we'll see if he's got anything for those front 3 guys. He has got past Daniel Medham and into 4th place as we see Sloan Frost, Scott Moyer and Al Hoogie head out onto the back straight, and Scotty Moyer pulled up alongside Sloan last time round, so we'll see if he's got some top end speed. He's going to do it again. He's going to get in the slipstream and pull up alongside Sloan, and has he got enough in front? He goes deep into brakes, and he takes the line away. Then we've got a change for the lead. That is Scotty Moyer. The CD Vandermeer Builders Promoto GSXR 1000 has made his way into the lead, and he comes into the McKissick curve. With Sloan Frost now into second place with Al Hoogie all over the back of him at the moment as well. So definitely going to be an awesome 20 lap. We've still got 13 to go as we see them go into the hairpin.
All right, back with road guides Ian Templeton, and Ian to look out for what Scott was able to do. So maybe it was a little hiccup from him before that gave Sloan the advantage. Has he seen a weakness back in Sloan? Has he seen the fact that if Sloan gets away, he won't be able to do it later in the race? Because look at that, now that he's gone for him as well, he pulls out a few extra bike lengths.
Yeah, I don't think Scotty will be happy sitting in second place. He knows that if there's a slight chance on the last lap, Sloan's going to go for it no matter what. So he really wants to have a wee bit of a buffer on that last lap. He's not going to sit there and just wait for Sloan.
All right, there we go. Expert comments coming up through here as we take our eyes at the moment for the run up that straight over 200 kilometres an hour. It's absolutely blitzing and a fine run into John Jones Steele. So there it is, Scott, Sloan, Al along with Damon, Daniel as they go for the fight at this stage and looking out to see. In fact, it's gone back the other way, I noticed. So hard to see what's going on there. Brad, have you picked that one up, Damon or Daniel? How are we looking here?
Damon made a bit of a mistake at the northern end of the circuit and allowed Daniel back inside. So he's already caught right up the back of him. So that battle for fourth and fifth there is definitely coming alive and one we'll keep an eye on.
All right, well, hard to see how Damon has gone from a maximum 51 out of 51 at Ruapuna last week to bring himself down here to even be back in qualifying on the third row in the damp conditions yesterday morning, and to find that he just really can't get into the groove of these races, but doing all the right things and super consistent. I would think still at the end of this meeting he may be up on points at fifth place early. He really needs those fourths and thirds possibly in this one to have a chance to still stay on top, but we're going to go into the North Island, Ian, and just really be saying, well, this is anybody's championship.
Absolutely. I think that's the best thing about having the championship spread across the North and the South Island. No one actually has an advantage. Everyone has to travel, and everyone's got to travel the same amount. So it works out really well. Now, Damon, he's kind of struggling a wee bit with levels, but what everyone has to remember is he's only been here 2 or 3 times in the past, and Sloan Frost, well, how many championships has he raced here?
Yeah, valid point, good to watch. So there you go. Scott, Sloan, Alistair, Dan Damon is where we've settled into at the moment. They look to be our top 5, and unless there's a hiccup from any of those riders, I don't see any other changes. It is really a 3 and a 2. We're calling about 5 riders, but there's a significant gap between third and fourth. But I tell you what, the 1, 2, 3 could go anyway, and so too with the 4 and 5 as they're fighting it out. But there's Scott. What's he trying to set here? Has he still got the fastest time? Yes, he has a 1:03.654. That's the hottest time, and he has not bettered it on that lap, even though he's pulled out in front. And there you go. There's 10 to go. That's the halfway mark in a race. And you pointed out, Ian, that perhaps it's not the tyres. And that's why I think we're starting to see more smooth riding rather than just fierce racing, aren't we?
Yeah, the guys do have to be a wee bit aware that after 20 laps, things are going to start to get a little greasy. I don't think they're going to suffer major tyre degradation, though, so they can just push on at this pace for the next 10 laps. Maybe in about 4 laps' time, we'll start to see Sloan have another push, see if he can pull that gap in a little.
All right, the road guide's Ian Templeton up here with us and getting a good quality update of our racing. There we go, Brad, the bird's eye view from Ctas live, and Sloan, just when you think he's pulling away at the moment, then we find that Sloan has the advantage. So Scott, Sloan, and in there too, Al Hoogie. Man, oh man, what's he going to do to be back in there? It is super consistent. As he said in the last interview, he wants to be up there, but I tell you what, staying in a close third like that, who knows, those two could just touch. Anything could happen. He could be there ready to pounce. Close and exciting.
Yeah, that's right. It's absolutely exciting. So we head into the S's, and it's nothing in it really. You can throw a blanket over the top 3. Scotty Moyer, then Sloan Frost and Al Hoogie. Al Hoogie's done an awesome job in third place all weekend. He's been thereabouts. So I've had to take my hand off to Al Hoogie on the new R1 and the new Yamaha Blue Crew team. He's done a fantastic job. Damon Rees all over the back of Daniel Medham in 4th and 5th place there. So Damo Rees definitely got a little run on the back straight, and see him pull up next to him. Not quite close enough this time into the left-hander. So Daniel Medham still holding on to the 4th place advantage as we see our leaders around the McKissick curve, and it is the CD Vandermeer builder's man himself, Scotty Moyer, in front of this one with about a 5 bike length advantage to Sloan Frost. So yeah, like I say, Sloan will he'll definitely be having he'll have a plan in his mind. He'll have a lap time and a lap speed he'll want to go, and he'll just pull the trigger when he needs to. I think keep an eye on the number 1 of Sloan Frost.
Well, one thing, if you're looking at coverage live here, courtesy of Ctas Live, the green grass, and everybody's talking about it in New Zealand. We've had a very lush spring and early part of summer here in New Zealand. So you come to a region like South Canterbury, normally prone to a lot of drought. We come down here, as it is a little bit for Ruapuna, to see all the brown, the burnt grass off for summer. But this summer has been something very different, and we've already seen a couple of our riders head towards the grass, and it has been a little bit juicy out there. So not quite the traction that they might have got in the past with the hard pack and the burnt grass off the top. So there it is, the green grass contrast of our beautiful track here at Levels, the home of the South Canterbury Car Club, as leased by the South Canterbury Motorcycle Club, running a great event on here at the moment.
Yeah, and I see Damon Rees just past Daniel Medham again, so up into 4th place for Damon. So let's see if he can pull a gap.
Oh, indeed, good to watch, good to watch. That's that fight going on for fourth place as Brad still keeps an eye on the trio in front, and Scotty Moyer just can't pull away, Brad.
No, he can't pull away at all. There's a couple of different lines as they go in and out of the hairpin, but it is still Scott Moyer with that advantage over Sloan Frost with Al Hoogie right there in third place. They're heading into the bus stop, so neat and tidy through there. They're going to have 7 laps to go, still a massive 7 laps to go as they cross the line and head into the Esters. Then we look for the update. It is still Damon Rees. He has the advantage in fourth place, but the gap from the front three is probably a bit too much for him to reel in. But Damo Rees now in fourth place with Daniel Medham right there in fifth, and a good ride from James Hoogie, who's in sixth place on a lonely little ride there.
Well, after he was getting 25 points and 25 points last weekend, when you're back in fourth place, you're only scoring 13 points, so nowhere near as significant. But some of the other guys that are in front of him were scoring those kind of points only last weekend. So I would think, even though it might be a Scott Moyer benefit, I'm thinking at the end of this one, it should still be an advantage to Damon on the overall points. We're going to really look with interest and see how that's going to hold. But more importantly, it's going to stack them up and realise that, man, it's just anybody in the North Island. And what I think it's now starting to show us, Ian, as well, is along the way, you just cannot afford a DNF anymore. We've seen people win championships before with a DNF because it still had win after win, well, that sort of thing. I don't think that can happen anymore.
No, not at the moment. Not with the quality of field and the quality of machinery that these guys are riding. Like a mechanical DNF these days is a massive, massive rarity, particularly in the superbike class. So no one can count on someone not finishing every race.
Yeah, here indeed. So good to watch. And Brad, still going there to keep an eye on this Ctas coverage. Man, for the people all around the world, are they watching quality here or what?
Yeah, this is outstanding results here from Scotty Moyer. He's just done nothing wrong this weekend. He said his fitness might come into play with the 20 lapper, but so far he's showing no signs of it. Still lapping in the 104s there. So Scott Moyer, he heads into the left-hander, but Sloan Frost definitely right behind him in second with Al Hoogie in third. So Sloan Frost, we know how fit he is. We know the off-the-bike training he does, so we know whether 20 lap is not going to be a problem for Sloan, whether Scotty's going to fade off, but showing no signs of it at the moment. Awesome ride from Scotty Moyer.
All right, we've also picked up the fact that now Demon Damo looks to be making the cut in the Carl Cox Motorsport team, Pacific Toyota, Tony Reeves Motorcycles, Honda New Zealand supported CBR 1000 RRSP1 is certainly starting to pull a bit of a gap on Daniel Medham, so I'll tell you what, looking a little better. In fact, just as we talk about that, look, we've just seen Al, what's happened here? We've just dropped him off, haven't we?
Yeah, I think Al might have overbraked a little bit hard into John Jones. The guy's pulled a bit of a gap down into the tightening radius. Now he's going to have to work exceptionally hard to try and bridge that gap over the next 5 laps.
All right, Lee, not enough time, I don't think, for Damon to make up the time, but more importantly, he's gotten himself into fourth place. Needs to stay there. As we talked about, consistency is the key, and with him hanging in there, I suggest he'll be still hanging in as number 1 in the points as we have a 6-week break before we go to a great event called MotoFest. And if I can't say enough about MotoFest, man, oh man, that event just came alive last year. What a terrific show, bringing back the yesterday and the yesteryear, the older bikes, the older riders, some of our ex-factory mechanics, of course, MNZ Hall of Famer Paul Tracy doing an outstanding job, and hope to have Paul back on the scene helping them there at MotoFest and as MC of the show, and really just driving it forward to get this quality racing mixed with the blast of the past and getting people back like Aaron Slight and Robbie Phillips and many other quality names. Man, even Kevin McGee we had there in the lineup. But what about our own people like Stuart Vaught? What a great rider he was in his day. To have all those people in the same place, it was just a mega event, Ian.
Oh, it would have been fantastic. I really wished I could have been there, and to be fair, I wish I could be there this year.
Yeah, right. Well, so it's not a perfect world for everybody. Bad luck on that one, but somebody's got to work. Isn't that a disappointment? But anyway, here we go. As we look back, Brad keeping an eye on it. Still the fearsome pace out in front. Has Scotty got a big enough buffer now?
Yeah, no, I think he's just pulled the trigger because he's in the 103s. He's just hit the fastest lap of the race with a 103.6, so that's only 0.3 of a second off lap record pace. So absolutely pulling the trigger with 15 down and 4 to go. So awesome to see Scotty Moyer, and we can't see any sign of that fitness that he thought might plague him. So Scotty Moyer just pulling the trigger, and he got about a 5 to 10 bike length advantage as they head into the hairpin, but Sloan is still managing to stay with him there. They've dropped Al Hoogie. He's in a lonely ride in third place and still holding off Damo Rees in fourth. So the battle for fifth really heating up. James Hoogie now all over Daniel Medham, and they're chopping and changing for position.
Right, look at that. There's a lapper just coming up there as well now. If we saw in the last race with Seth Devereaux and also Evelyn Biddle that a lapper can make all the difference, and there's one just in the front for those super bikes, and there is Scott. So he's now got to see that he get, in fact, not a bad place when you're pulling out of the corner, because the lapper will hold their line, and as long as he's got the power and the speed to be able to get past, he should be able to do so. He may be able to even use it as an advantage. You get a little bit of a slipstream slipstream and just pull into John Jones and steal it. And then, of course, right on the corner, he puts that rider in the gap back there to Sloan Frost. So that used well there, the lapper by Scott Moyer.
Absolutely, and Sloan's going to have to be very careful round through the tightening radius because he's got a lapper in front of him, but he doesn't want Scotty to get away. So how's he going to deal with this one? Oh, he's through. He's through cleanly. That's fantastic riding.
Nice to see, all right, as we're picking him up. And remember, of course, for Demon Damo and that deficit, he's got it now out to 4.1 seconds, so that's looking good. Daniel Meddon back there in 5th place. You folks wait. You wait till you see Daniel Meddon on his home track at Hampton Downs. Although last year, in saying that, so much of a home track, it was the brand new international circuit, so nobody had been on that track before. And Daniel Meddon made it his own and owned it. Australian Robbie Bugden turned up on the R1 Yamaha after Hayden Fitzgerald was out with injury. He was the R1 Yamaha rider, and he stole the show. Absolutely stole it. He did a Peter Hickman to Scotty Moyer, as we saw in the Robert Holden feature race on Boxing Day at Wanganui, as we'd seen, of course, on that occasion with Robbie Bugden taking it from Dan Meddon. So there you go, some excitement that will build, I'm sure, on that one. So look for Dan to be back on home turf, but at the moment it's nobody's home turf here, really. Al Hoogie is being 150 k's up the road in Christchurch, might be as close to home for him, but Scott Moyer is owning it today.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job. You see him at the northern end of the circuit, and just waiting for them to sneak out of the blind spot there we've got in our commentary box. It is still Scotty Moyer who's increasing the advantage over Sloan Frost. So we see Scotty Moyer definitely pulling out a little bit of an advantage, and he's going to get the white flag. It's ready and waiting for him as he heads out the front into the bus stop. So this has been an absolutely brilliant display from Scotty Moyer, who's now just nursing a big advantage as he picks up the white flag and has one to go.
I can't believe that George Moyer could control himself, actually, and I think he did for almost a fraction of a second there. But old Charlie, CD Vandermeer Builders, he's getting a bit excited, and why wouldn't you when you're down there? Here's a chance we've got to ride in here. We knew how good it was last year with somebody like Sloan. After all, he had one on his bike from 2016, missed it in 2017 under controversy, got it back in 2018, and he dominated all three of them. Scotty Moyer could do the same here today. This is really going to put the whole championship up on its end.
Absolutely. Look, Scotty's having a great run. He rode very, very well at Ruapuna. He's a class act today here at Levels Raceway. You know, Taupo's his home track. Who knows?
Yeah, great point. And now remembering as well, we talked about how good Damon was at Ruapuna. They only got 2 races before the oil incident stopped their final race where he could have gone perfect 3. That's what Scott has done, the 3. So maybe I'll take my words back. I think by consistency, because of the extra race, it might be Scott that's got himself up on top of the points at this event. But hey, we'll wait for the computer to do a much better job.
And here comes Scott now.
Into the bus stop they go, and Scotty Moyer is going to win over 3 from 3 at Levels Raceway this weekend. Well done, Scott Moyer. Then we go to Sloan Frost. He's had a good weekend as well, and finds himself in second again. Al Hoogie through the bus stop now, so he's done enough for 3 podium finishes here at Levels. Well done to Al. Damon Rees, not the best weekend for him, but another consistent 4th place for him. And then Daniel Meddon is going to do enough to hold off James Hoogie, so a good ride there from those two. They were neck and neck for a good few laps, and Daniel just doing enough to hold on to him. We go with Connor London, a great ride from Connor there, getting a good 7th place. Jake Lewis, unfortunately, his bike out of action after a crash on Friday, so on the borrowed bike there, manages an 8th place finish. We go back to Livio, who's had a pretty good weekend for Livio. He finishes a 9th with Ryan Lianco in 10th, Chris Haldane 11th, 12th for Brad Groombridge, Dan Ormsby for Dan Ormsby Motorcycle Training comes through in 13th place with Ray Clee and Dave Sharp already a lap down in 14th and 15th. So that is brilliant riding from Scotty Moyer. And 3 from 3. And with Damon Rees having the crash in race 1 of the DNF, he will surely take a big points advantage up to the North Island. So that is great work from Scotty Moyer, the CD Vandermeer Builders and Suzuki New Zealand Pro Moto Northern Accessories man. Absolutely brilliant from Scotty Moyer. Then go back to the Fujitsu GSS Red Baron Suzuki of Sloan Frost in 2nd place with the awesome Blue Crew Yamaloo one of Al Hoogie in 3rd. There's your podium. Damon Rees back in 4th, Daniel Meddon in 5th, James Hoogie in 5th, Connor London 6th, 7th for Connor London, and Jake Lewis in 8th. So we'll cross down now to Neil, who will have our podium.
Oh, I tell you what, we've been asking the guys to make sure they, sort of, as it were, get their efforts sorted out at the end of the race quickly, get their bikes on the stand, their helmets off, and get their caps on and up onto the podium, so that we can keep the continuity of the show, so that people watching around the world haven't got extensive delays and sitting there on their computers or laptops, tablets, or smartphones. And now these guys just making it so professional. And man, are we ever so delighted that they can do this. We're doing it at a world scale. And we're at little old New Zealand down here at the bottom of the world having a great time in our very different kind of a summer with a rather cooler day compared to the many good years that we've focused on. Look at that smile from Scotty. Well done. Yeah. Yep. So, nice to see, nice to see. Well, with two very different races on our hands at Ruapuna last week and the racing here yesterday, but here we are, our two races today, and we've got a perfect repeat podium of the same three riders in the same order. So, Al, what are you going to be doing in the next few weeks to head to the North Island to beat these guys on their home turf?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tough up north, but today just showed the sort of the lack of time we've had on the Yamaha and the Dunlops. We had them working awesome on the Friday when the temperature was a bit hotter, but we're sort of uncharted territory with the track temp. So you look at my tyre, it's absolutely chewed, and the top two boys have their tyres look really mint. So I was happy to be able to hang on with them for the first 12, 13 laps, and then saw I had a wee bit of a gap, so I just backed it off and brought it home because third's better than going home in a trailer and in an ambo. So big thanks to the Yamaha guys. Sorry for throwing away the bike and making you all fix it up, but cheers to Dave and the team, and we're definitely looking forward to getting some testing in and heading to the North Island. So, cheers.
Fantastic words. The true professional comes out of him, and certainly looking good. And Sloan, there you go, Suzuki again, keeping it up there. The number one under a little bit of threat, but hey, you've still got plenty of North Island racing left.
Yeah, mate, it's a long championship, and pretty happy to where I've got, and just had to change my whole way that I ride the bike and the way that I race with these guys. You know, it's a tough pack out there, and it's aggressive racing. So just being able to meet the challenge, which I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to do after the Suzuki series in the first round and stuff. And just my team's working so well together, and Corey and Terry, and obviously Shane Kinderis, who comes over from Australia. He's just a magician. You know, the first race we're having troubles with the tyres, and then just a couple of mil here and there, and it just made enough difference, to get the race distance out of it. So,
right, hey, you had an opportunity to whip up in front of Scotty. I didn't think you were going to let him back. You're such a gentleman.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. The racing's hard, but I was struggling off turn 3 all weekend, and Scotty could just get off there so fast, and that's where I was really letting myself down. But managed to sort of keep up with him around the rest of the track, and I thought I could see his tyre going off a little bit, sort of about 3/4 way through that race, and thought I might have had something for him, but we just got to some lap traffic, and Scotty got through a little bit quicker than me, and just that second that I lose was enough to put me